Hello there, Ungainly Titan here, and welcome to 2021. And what a start to the year. In my case, my first omen of the kind of year to come was when a rat broke into my car in the new year. That's a rat of the rodent kind, at least I think it was a rat, judging from the amount of damage done to the back seat. Problem is solved for now, I think. Car seems to be okay, disinfection, all that sort of stuff was done. Other than that, Christmas was pretty quiet. I had no visitors, obviously. We were under maximum level lockdown here in Ireland. So I played games quite a lot, watched movies. Nothing particularly memorable in the movies other than Howl's Moving Castle, which I would recommend. I think I mentioned before that I play D&D online on a fairly regular basis, actually weekly basis now for the last number of years with a bunch of friends that I've known since college. And normally we would meet a couple of times a year and actually have a board game weekend where we'd play various board games. So when the whole lockdown coronavirus thing started last year, we actually decided that we'd meet online twice a week and we'd play some other games the other night. More of a social thing than anything else. Just the means to connect and contact each other. We initially used Civilization 6, but basically we wanted games that didn't require huge amounts of focus or attention. Say World of Tanks or first-person shooters or arena games, things like that. Are pretty, you need to be pretty on the ball, pretty focused if you want to do well in the games. And lately we've tried a couple of games that were ports of board games to the PC platform. And they're board games we've played before. I mean, games like Lords of Waterdeep, Terraforming Mars, and Terraforming Mars I found myself playing quite a bit of lately in the run-up to Christmas, and actually over Christmas as well. Kind of with achievement hunting on Terraforming Mars. They're just around the Christmas period. And it's become kind of my default game, like sort of Minesweeper or what you call it, Hearts, would be people sitting in an office with nothing to do. It became my default game when I'm sitting in front of the computer because it's a relatively short game and it'll just while away an hour pleasantly enough. It's quite a good game and I'd highly recommend it. So it's kind of an engine building game. You're a member of a corporation trying to terraform Mars and you basically get cards. Depending on what corporation you are and what variant of the game you're playing, there's different ways of acquiring the cards, and the cards allow you to either build projects or improve your resource acquisition, which will then allow you actually to build projects down the line. But projects tend to directly affect the terraforming of Mars, and they improve your terraforming rating, which is sort of the basics of your scoring, although the scoring is quite complicated, and it's also your basic income during the game, but you can get income over and above the actual terraforming rating. So you as a player have to balance between improving the economic performance of your corporation and or completing the objectives of the game. And if you don't get the balance right, other people get it better, they'll score more than you do, and the game will end sort of before you've completed your economic engine. What I find is that when you play the game with people, or at least the people I've played it with, they take a couple of turns longer because they spend a bit of time setting up their economic engine, whereas the AIs tend to go fairly strongly for the terraforming of Mars. And in fact, the easier the AI is, the more it tends to go for the terraforming of Mars. Though you could get a good game at any level of the AI, the deck is randomized, so each time you start a new game you're playing from a randomized deck, and sometimes you just get a really nice selection of cards that makes a big difference. The game is available on Steam, and it's also obviously a board game, and I would recommend either version. There's a new expansion out just before Christmas, the Prelude expansion, which there may be actually more than one expansion to the board game. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at it in quite a while. The other game that's occupied much of my time is the current release of Fort Triumph. Now, long-term viewers of my channel will be aware that I've been involved with Fort Triumph for about 2 years. I've followed the game fairly closely through the last 2 years or thereabouts of its early access on Steam. I would describe Fort Triumph as kind of a tactical RPG, or XCOM meets D&D. It borrows from D&D in that you have a party of heroes, a paladin class, savage, ranger and wizard classes, and you can have up to 1 to 5 characters in your party, but you start off with 3 in the campaign mode, and there's only 4 heroes relevant to the story in the campaign mode. Combat's on a grid, turn-based war game, sort of like XCOM, but with a lot more emphasis on amusing physics effects. This game I played a lot of when it was in early access, and early enough to influence the game's development, hence the mention of yours truly in the game credits. I should add that the mention is a pure ego boo reward. I actually gained nothing financially from the success or otherwise of this game, other than, I suppose, the odd person that reads the credits looking on, who's that guy? But I'm in with a whole bunch of other YouTubers and Obsidian games. So the game released last August, September, but I didn't play the final release. I kind of put it aside for other games that I wanted to complete first. And then I decided to tackle the story campaign over Christmas and was pleasantly surprised actually in the final form. And this is from somebody who was following along the last 2 years of early access. It's also funny because one of my first or second video on the game was actually a observation about what was then fairly poor quality of the story mode. And it's actually interesting to see the bits of the story that survived from those early iterations that are still in there, and still in the final version, and then how they've been changed and expanded upon and manipulated into quite a decent story. And it's actually, you'd be interested, you'll find it interesting as it develops along. And I think the game has replay value. I certainly intend to replay the story mode. If for nothing else, that I just want to see if I can actually max out a character. I have pretty close this time around. Anyway, that's Fort Triumph from Cookie Bite Entertainment. I must actually have a look and check out what our next project is. I have not looked at World of Tanks really since last November. I haven't played it. I've switched on and updated it. That's about as far as I've gotten. I will be resuming kind of shortly, and I noticed they're now on an 80s blockbuster, action blockbuster theme, which is probably better than toy cars. So the plan going forward is to do at least one video a week, World of Tanks related. Apologies for not managing to keep up that schedule there towards the tail end of the year. However, this is my plan going forward, but I also want to then start producing other videos side by side, probably kind of reviews of games that catch my eye or whatever I'm playing at the moment. And I'm also half considering setting up a second channel to cover stuff that's just not video game related. I had videos relating to Fantasy Grounds that I put up actually for my fellow players in the D&D group, but they actually attracted a lot of attention. On an average week, those videos actually saw more traffic than the rest of my channel put together. And this made me tempted to kind of get into that area, or at least, well, if they're still up there, but I've just delisted them from the video because I felt that they were more trouble than they were worth it in this channel, because this channel was mostly World of Tanks content. And I was getting subscribers who were then unsubscribing. Now, I don't know if they were the same people subscribing and unsubscribing at the same time, but my subscriber base has hovered at around 90 people for 2 years now. But probably somewhere in the region of another 90 people have come and gone in the meanwhile. And I've been half wondering, was the Fantasy Grounds stuff the cause of that? Because people were coming in, seeing that I'd done a couple of Fantasy Grounds videos and thought, I'd like to see more content from this guy in Fantasy Grounds, and then subscribed and find they're not getting it, so they were unsubscribing. So I'm half thinking of setting up a second channel and actually maybe doing content related to that, or at least those videos, and putting them up there, deleting them completely from this channel. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how things pan out. Hope everybody is well and that you're all safe and nobody belonging to you or yours has been affected by the conditions of the past year, and that things will be improved in 2021. And please feel free to comment, share, subscribe, click the like button. It's supposed to be very good for the channel. I will catch you all as soon as I can in the next video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, comment, share. It really helps the channel out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.